system, we have host configuration, we have emails, we have file transfer, and we have web. So we're going to talk about each of these. So for the DNS, it stands for domain name server, and this domain name server is either a TCP or a UDP that uses port number 53, and what it does is that it is used to map or translate a name to an IP, or from an IP to a name. For instance, numbers are very difficult for, because they are digits. It might be difficult for humans to remember the 192.168.63.79 or 202.57 or 127. So you cannot remember all of these things. So the simplest thing that you can do is to map this IP address to a name that is easily understood. Maybe to a name of your company. Let's say, for instance, we are talking about Cisco here. So you can have an IP address that you can map to your Cisco domain. So you can call it as cisco.com. So you can call www.cisco.com, and that IP will be translated into that name, or that name will be translated with that IP. So if you type the IP, you can get to cisco.com. If you type cisco.com, you can get to cisco.com. So that's what this domain name server can do. Next one is the bootTP. The bootTP has been superseded by DHCP. What bootpt does is that it provides you with the automatic IP address if your device is unable to obtain an IP. We talk about this, a PIPA address. So then from there, the DHCP came in. What DHCP does is that it allows the user, the administrator, to set a range of IP addresses and leave it like so. Any device that needs IP address, it will just connect to the server and then obtain its IP address automatically without the administrative intervention. So that's what this DHCP does, and it uses port number 68 and port number 67. So we have both. We have port 67 and 68 that can be used with DHCP. And next one here is the simple mail transfer protocol. The simple mail transfer protocol, what it simply does is that it allows the user to be able to send emails. Okay, so this is the layer. Oh, sorry, this is the application, or the application layer protocol that is used to send emails, and its only responsibility is to send emails from the client to the server, then from that server to the other client. So it uses port number 25. Let's say, for instance, you are configuring access control list. You don't want some certain part of your company to receive email or to be able to send emails. You can set this port number in your access list statement, and it will block those users from accessing to send email. They can receive emails, but they cannot send emails. So we have the post office protocol and the IMAP, that is the internet message protocol, access protocol, the IMAP. There are protocols that are used for receiving emails, but we'll talk about their difference in how to call subsequently. So we have the file transfer protocol and the trivial file transfer protocol. The difference between the file transfer protocol and trivial file transfer protocol is that with file transfer, you will need internet to be able to do your work. That's why I say it's reliable and connection oriented. And then it acknowledges file delivery protocol. So it uses the internet and uses some parts of TCP to help. So, but for trivial file transfer, it is very simple, connectionless file transfer protocol. It uses port number 69, and all that it does is, without internet, maybe for instance you take your flash drive and you transfer a file, or you take just take a diskette or something, plug it to this computer, transfer it to it. It's a trivial file transfer. It does not need any, it does not require any internet access. So file transfer protocol, it requires internet, and use TCP port 20 and 21, and then 20 is used for data, and the difference is not much because they all use the different things. So hypertext transfer protocol, TCP uses port number 80. In some cases you see 8080. So it's important that this hypertext transfer protocol port number, it's important you change it if you have your network, because everybody knows this port, and they can just open a socket and access this port, have access to your web server. So you have to be very careful that whenever you have a web server in your network, you change that port number to a number that is known only to your company, not to individuals. So you can just change the default port number from 80 to maybe 43, or you can make it 154, or anything that you can remember. Okay, so after that we have some HTTP version, that is a secure version of hypertext transfer protocol. We call it the HTTPS. So now if you even go online, you type anything like, for instance, google.com, you will see HTTPS, because all websites or all web access or applications are now HTTPS, because it is the most. So the default port number for HTTPS is port number 443. So it uses both TCP and UDP. So it's important that you guys remember these things. So we have the client and server mode, application layer interaction with user application. So for instance, if you're in a server and a client model, the client and server process are considered to be an application layer because you have a client. For instance, I'm accessing a particular protocol, or I'm accessing a particular application online. So my client is my laptop, my mobile phone, my computer, or anything that I'm using to access that. So that is my client. So I'm trying to access it. Let's say for instance I have a movie that I want to obtain from a particular website, or there is a video that I want to watch from a person's YouTube link. So I have to access, I have to request for this from that server. So that's what the application protocol will describe, the format of the request and the response between the client and the server, because I am requesting, so it will give me that response. And then the example of that is that you're using your ISP's email service to send, receive, and store email. So it's as simple as like that. So you have to, the client will have to send